Yo, what's the deal, y'all? Just got finished watching an episode of The Game on BT, and there was a scene where Tasha Mack's character, who was pregnant, was trying to explain to her friends how much she needed her child's father around, how much she wanted her child's father around, and they were trying to convince her she did not need him around. They were trying to convince her everything she said she needed him for, she could do herself. And you know what? She could do herself. She very much well could do it herself, but why? And I asked myself, I said, you know what? Are young women sitting around convincing their friends who are not with the child's father that they don't need him around? Are they sitting around trying to convince these women that being a single mother is okay, that being a single mother is cool? It's not. I'm telling you, it is not cool. And we gotta start making better decisions. I love my people enough to know that we're making poor decisions. Young girls are making poor decisions. It makes no sense that a young girl knows right after conception that she will be a single mother. It makes no sense that young boys can get out here and make babies and leave and then not feel like they left a part of themselves with this young girl. It makes no sense that young girls have babies and they know immediately that they'll be on government assistance. Come on, man. Ladies, young girls, please do me a favor. Ask yourself this one question. When you lay down to have sex with a young man and you decide not to wear a condom, ask yourself this one question. If you get pregnant, will he make your life better? If he won't make your life better, he will only make it worse. What is he bringing to the table? See, I'm gonna tell y'all what young black girls lack in the black community. They lack self-esteem, first of all. That's why you see young girls twerking. That's why you see young girls doing things that they should not be doing to get the attention of young men. Whatever happened to the day where the young man had to show he's worthy of the woman. See, young black girls in the black community, they lack what I like to call the princess in the tower mentality. See, to visualize the princess in the tower mentality, just visualize a princess in the tower and the prince below. And in order to get her love, he has to do what? Slay a dragon. He has to swim through a moat full of alligators. He has to do all these things to show this princess that he's worthy of her love. See, that's what they lack. The young black men are no longer fighting for the young black girls. You have young black girls asking young black guys to marry them. To me, that's appalling. There's nothing wrong with a young girl or a young woman asking a guy to marry her. But at some point, she has to ask herself, if he has not asked her, then maybe he's not mature enough. And maybe ask herself, is that the guy she wants to marry? A guy that she has to ask to marry her. Ladies can no longer settle for a man that you can give children to, build a life with, but they can't make you a wife. Making you a wife is the end goal. If you're doing all this and you're not being made a wife, you're doing it all for nothing. If you're having all these kids by this guy, he can up and leave you any given time, and you're stuck with these kids and all these paying his child support. If that, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Know your worth. Do not lay down with anybody who will not make you a wife. See, saying no sex till marriage is far-fetched because that's not the reality today. But at least love the person. At least make sure he loves you back. Because nowadays, young girls are having babies by young guys who have no intentions on ever making them wives. And the only way young girls are going to stop falling for this nonsense is they have the father around saying, listen, baby girl, you can't fall for that. Or when the young man comes to the house, he says, hey, son, what's your plans in life? Because like I said earlier, if he's not going to make your life better, he's only going to make your life worse. And I want us young brothers to start doing better. I want us young brothers to start making better decisions. If we can't give them our all, then walk away. Don't give them anything. There was a saying I saw online that says, no wedding, no womb. I know it sounds so crazy to say no sex before marriage because, again, the reality we live in today is people have sex on the first date. People have sex when it ain't even a date. But at some point, if we're ever going to fix the social ills we face, we're going to have to stop having all these babies by people we barely know. We have to stop having babies by these people who have no intentions on ever building a life with us. Before you decide to have unprotected sex with anybody, which I recommend you don't, because there's so many things that come with unprotected sex. But having a baby, that's one of those things that, hey, listen, your life ain't over, but it will drastically change your life. Your life does not get better after the baby. It does not. I don't know who told you that, but your life does not get better after the baby. Make sure he's committed to you. Make sure that the day you leave the hospital, you don't have to get Medicaid. Make sure he can provide you health insurance for you and the baby. Make sure that. Make sure when you get pregnant, you take maternity leave, he will be able to take care of you and the baby. See, we're not taking care of the basics. We not. And that's what's so disheartening, is that I know we can do better. I know we want to do better. But it's a large segment of us that are sitting back watching 16 and 17-year-old girls have babies and can't afford daycare. Having babies and can't afford groceries. Having babies and cannot drive. It's the saddest thing in the world to me, seeing a young girl getting off city transportation with Pampers and a stroller. Because that means somewhere along the line, a man failed her. Somewhere along the line, she laid down with somebody who she thought had her back. And then when reality set in, she realized she was all on her own. And most of the time, she comes from a household where her father was not there. She comes from a household where it wasn't whole. Not saying a whole household guarantees you success or guarantees you to be a great parent, but it greatly increases your chances of becoming a great parent. See, now I ain't gonna sit here and pretend like there's a simple solution to all of our problems, but I do know one thing. If we start making better decisions, we greatly decrease the mistakes that we make. So to my young ladies, just wait. Having a baby don't make life any easier. Go to school, get your education, get your career first. By the way, when you have a baby, life is gravy. You don't want to struggle after you had a baby. You don't want to struggle the day you bring the baby home. That ain't the life you want to live. That ain't the life for nobody. To my young brothers, stop having all these babies. Stop having all these multiple baby mamas. Why you want to give your money to 4 or 5 different women? I don't understand that. Make that one special one so you can be able to take your daughter to the father-daughter dance. We can do better. We gonna do better. We will do better. Real talk.